What's up, y'all? John Melton coming to you live with another episode of Money Monday. And yes, I know it's a Tuesday, but my daughter had a volleyball tournament yesterday on President's Day, which I saw a funny meme. Eric, I don't know if you saw this. And this is we're gonna start off with just a little bit of shock value. People saw my post and they were like, "Oh, that's a good one." And I was like, "I know I stole it," but they said we're not gonna have a President's Day until we have one. Oh, snap! That was a good one. Let's go, Brandon. Just want to have a little fun. It's okay if you voted for him. I just think you made a huge mistake. But anyway, we're excited. I hope everybody's excited to talk about recruiting mistakes with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Eric Worre. And Eric was supposed to be on yesterday, but I had to reschedule due to the volleyball tournament. So Eric, appreciate your flexibility. Appreciate you being available, and really excited, as always, to have you on the show. I know we're going to talk about all things recruiting. And for those of you that are hopping on, let me know if you would love to recruit 20 people in 30 days. How many of us have heard of Eric's Recruit 20 in 30 days? I know that's coming up here in a couple weeks. I'm very excited about that, but wanted to have you on because, obviously we could talk about all things recruiting, but first I really want to get into some of the mistakes that you see people making, because I think I've been guilty of these mistakes. I think many people that are watching right now can admit that, either they overthink it, or they come on too strong, or they don't come on strong enough. I mean, we all have things that we do that could be improved upon. And I've been doing this now for over 20 years. I know I've had to make adjustments and improvements. And still today, I try to, really pay attention to what's working and see what's duplicating in the market. And Eric, obviously, I know you're not only the number one trainer and coach in the profession, but you're always working with leaders. And based on your experience and expertise, really what's working in the field, in the market, especially now moving into a new year in 2024. So I just want to talk about that. I want to talk about the things that you're seeing right now in the marketplace. Again, what's working, what's not. And again, just appreciate having you on.
My pleasure. I mean, first thing I'll share with everybody in the topic of recruiting is there's been a bit of a shift over the last 3 to 5 years. And some people are like, oh, we're too focused on recruiting. We need to focus more on customers, which is fine. Obviously, nothing happens. Nobody gets paid in our business unless a sale happens to a customer, to a consumer. But there's a danger, and I think the organization the network marketing as an organization has overreacted and swung the pendulum so far to customer gatherers, to affiliates, to sales only. And they've lost a bit of the recruiting piece of what it is that we do. And the reason why that's dangerous is, think in terms of a traditional life cycle. You got your growth, you got your maturity, you have your decline. And now think of the average person who's going out and selling. However they're selling. They're an influencer, they're selling on social, they're doing whatever they're doing. There is a life cycle for each individual. There's, the beginning, there's the peak of, them absolutely their peak, and there's obviously a decline. People are not going to sell forever. There's a certain amount that they're going to sell. And if you understand that, then you understand the risk of not recruiting. Because think of this distributor that has a life cycle, like a person has a life.
Right.
There's grow up, maturity, there's decline, then they're gone. In network marketing, there's a life cycle of an average distributor. So there comes a point where they're not going to sell anymore. They sold what they're going to sell.
Yeah.
So if your birth rate, being the new recruits coming into your business, is lower than your death rate, which means a person is no longer going to be an active seller, then your organization is going to age out. It's just everybody's going to move through, and things are just going to decline.
I've never really heard it explained that way. That's good. I like that. Yeah, it makes sense.
You have to make sure that your birth rate is higher than your death rate. So as far as distributors within your organization. You have to be bringing in more than the people who are ceasing to be productive.
Right.
If you want to have a long-term future. So some people are like, oh, it's more fun for me to sell. Fine, I get it.
Yeah.
But you're giving up the leverage piece of your business. And leverage begins, you have a little bit of leverage when you're selling because you get repeat orders after
Right.
making the one sale one time. You get a little bit of leverage. You start to really have leverage when you're able to build a team of people who are also doing it. And then you expand on that leverage when you get duplication, and you expand on that leverage when you become a good leader who are helping people become more productive. So recruiting is important. And some of you might not be recruiting because it's a different skill set. Selling the product is kind of emotionally light. Bringing somebody into your business is a little bit more emotionally heavy. So, it's a little scarier for the average person to be able to go do that. But if you understand the importance of it, then I think you're going to have a longer term career if you have an ever expanding team. Teams are going to rise and fall, but just make sure the birth rate is higher. So that's just generally. You have any comments on that before I talk about some of the mistakes people are making?
Because I feel like you have a lot of the same conversations that I have, where people just feel like it's easier to sell. I'm just going to be an affiliate for things, or hey, I did recruit a bunch of people, they didn't do anything, and they get discouraged by that, and they say I don't want to babysit people, or they feel like it's there's no point in it because it's too much work for not enough pay. So I love hearing your philosophy on that, because I know you have similar conversations that I'm having.
Yeah. So to get to the mistakes is, people think in building an organization or being an entrepreneur, you can build it once, have it for forever, which is not true. It's never been true for any company, for any empire, for any country, for anything. In 5,000 years, do you think there's going to be a United States? Doubtful.
Right.
5,000 years, is there going to be a Russia? Is there going to be a China in 5,000 years? Doubtful. There's going to be something. We just don't know what it's going to be. So as you're building an organization, you can't build it once, have it forever. I brought in 10 people and two did something and they didn't do it for that long. So it's not worth it. So I'm just going to make my sales right now. And the sad thing for me, one of the biggest mistakes, I think, is people have this asset that is network marketing, and then they don't use it. So they basically take a job that was outside of network marketing and they replace it for a job inside of network marketing. So they just trade in time for money. Here's my product. I want to make a sale. I'm going to get the dollars. Then go find somebody else, make a sale, get the dollars. And you could do that anywhere, for any company or by yourself or whatever you want to do. You have all these leverage tools, and the only way to get wealthy is leverage. There is no way to get wealthy without leverage. Can't do it. So how do you get wealthy, and how do you use the tools that are available to you instead of just trading time for money? And the only way to do that is to grow a network.
And then what are you seeing those for the people that are having success, or maybe the people that they're not having success? So you're coaching those people too, right? What are you seeing the winners doing, the recruiters, the team builders? And then what are you seeing people that are maybe struggling or their business is in decline with a lack of recruiting? What are those differences that you're seeing?
Well, you got to raise your awareness to the point that you understand what is actually going on. If you raise the awareness and you look at your team, how many are going inactive per month? How many are coming on board per month or per year? And is your birth rate higher than the death rate? Because if you don't have a birth rate higher than the death rate, then you're going to age out and your organization is just going to continually be in decline. There's always going to be something to blame. You can blame the comp plan change. You can blame the product. You can blame, competitors. You can blame all kinds of stuff. That's not the real issue. The real issue is you didn't find the balance to be able to have an ever expanding team of people that makes up for the fact that people are going to fall off. So that's the first thing, is awareness. Are you constantly aware of what needs to be happening in your team. Are those things happening? What are the measurements that you can use to be able to figure out the health of your organization? So one of my favorite measurements is core rank. How many people within your company are achieving core rank for the very first time per month? That's probably the measure, the biggest healthy measure of an organization is that KPI, that measurement on a monthly basis. So awareness is number one. If you're highly aware of what's going on and you acknowledge the short-term consequences and long-term consequences for however your organization is acting,
right?
Then as an entrepreneur, you have the ability to adapt and pivot.
Yeah.
To be able to make course corrections.
Well, I noticed too, so much of it revolves around events. And I know with the whole COVID thing, we kind of got away from doing events, at least in person. But like we just had this big event this weekend, our annual conference. And it's amazing how many people afterwards or while we're there, like, I needed this. And those are the people coming out guns blazing, on fire, laser focused. They go from it being like a top 10 priority to a top 2 or 3 priority, right?
Yeah.
Like they are just in it to win it, back on track. And I said this on stage when I was opening up the conference. I'm like, we don't do this for like shits and giggles. Like we do this because it does make a big impact on people's lives. I mean, I remember some of the biggest recruiting runs I went on, it was after I went to an event and I got committed. I got serious. I saw the big picture. I caught the vision. How important do you think that is today, Eric?
Well, events aren't a direct, you're not going to recruit at the event that much. You might get a recruit here or there, but they're very strong in the indirect impact on recruiting because they build belief, they build confidence, they build the vision in somebody else. They see good examples. Big decisions are made at events. Leaders are born at events. I can't imagine a major decision that I had in my network marketing career that did not occur during an event. I really can't. I can't think of one. Maybe there were times when there were big attacks or big competitor situations that would happen from time to time, and I would have to like make a decision to get gritty and do the work in order to be able to rebuild a line or rebuild some different things. So maybe some of those decisions, but most of the big decisions happen at events. So obviously face-to-face changes the quality of what it is that we do, and it changes the conviction and vision in people. So they'll go home and do the things that they're meant to do. Okay. So it will support the efforts that you're going to need to do when you go home from that event. Okay. I would say back to the recruiting mistakes, the biggest mistake people make is they have a quantity problem. And most people watching this live or replay, you have a quantity problem. You're like, well, what does that mean? You're not talking to enough people. You're not in all businesses conversation. I learned this. I believe it's absolutely true. If you're in conversation, you have a chance of doing business. If you're out of conversation, your business is closed. So most people in network marketing, if they're honest, have far too few conversations going on at any given moment in time. I think everybody in network marketing should have at least 100 active conversations happening, 100 at any moment in time. So, those in the chat, if you're honest, God is watching, no cheating. How many real conversations are you in process with right now with prospects? How many prospects do you have, and how many conversations are you having with different prospects? Put a number into the chat and be honest. Because I would like to say, I know there's a little lag on this particular platform before I can see them. Iona says 30, 10. Caitlin says 10 to 15, some Facebook user. 3 today, thanks to a mentor call, 10 to 15. I'm talking about total. Now, here's what I would ask you to do. Awareness again. 28, 15, 30. Is that number in alignment with your financial goals in building your network marketing business? Is the 7, is the 0, is the 30? If you want to really grow, 2024 is going to be your biggest year yet. But you have 30 conversations going, or you have 7 conversations going. Is that in alignment with building an empire? Is that in alignment with financial freedom? It's not. So it's a quantity problem. So I'm a big believer in 3 words as far as getting better. 40, but most are ghosted conversations. That's not a conversation. That's a message. It's a conversation when they're responding. Now it's a conversation. Okay. So how do you keep track? You have a very easy device right here that you can use to keep track of every conversation. Just go look into your chat and just say, which one has a blue dot next to the name? And that's one that you need to respond to. Okay. So if all business is conversation, and if you have big goals and big aspirations, but you're not in enough conversations, you have a quantity problem. And some people say, well, what should I say? It doesn't matter. Back to the 3 words that changed my life. Plan, do, review. You don't have to be great at anything. You make a plan to start these conversations and keep them going. You do that plan and you review to get better. Oh, these are all ghosting me. All right. Well, you have to change something.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever that change is, keep changing it until you find ways so you can be in conversation, stay in conversation. And once you stay in conversation with people, then you're going to look for an opening for either your product or your opportunity, and you'll pivot that conversation to business or product. Okay. So it doesn't matter what you say. It just matters that you start. It doesn't matter how you approach people. If everybody's ghosting you, you're probably going too fast.
Exactly.
You're probably going straight, hi, nice to meet you. Would you like to join my business? And they're annoyed by your message. That's why they don't respond. So you're going to have to make it maybe a little bit more friendly. Maybe you talk about nothing about business for a couple of weeks and you keep the conversation going. And then you look for an opening because you built some trust.
Eric, do you ever log into LinkedIn?
Occasionally. I feel guilty every time it's brought up.
I feel like every time I go onto LinkedIn, there's a reason I avoid it. Every message I get, it's that. It's just
well, I mean, look, inside of Instagram, let me just look right now. And I could tell you, and my messages, people who message me, mention story. Hold on. I'll get to it. Exclusive offer from Charlotte. Get 10,000 plus followers, 1,000 to 1,200 likes and reach, 2,000 real views.
Mm-hmm.
It's $877. Block account, delete. Bye, Charlotte. She's gone. Like this, I'll show you one that I looked at this morning that cracked me up. Hold on. Bear with me. And this person is separating himself from everybody else, but in a different way. Hold on. Where is it? Too many messages. Holy moly, I have a lot of messages.
Maybe you need a VA combing through those for you.
Yeah. It's definitely underutilized asset for sure. But There's too many. But I would just basically, this guy wants to like offers up editing. You know, how many people offer up editing help?
Yep.
And he's acting all friendly. Now he has separated himself because he keeps sending, he keeps sending messages. He keeps saying, you know, it looks like, you know, maybe you didn't see my previous message. You know, hope you're having an amazing day. I really like this post that you did, but I think I could do it better. Like, okay, at least he's looking at something.
At least he's customizing the conversation.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So I'm trying to find the right guy, but anyway, too many. But in this is just in the last 24 hours, right? Just look at, these are all the DMs and mentions and all the stuff just in the last 24 hours. Mm. And in here is probably
insane
50 to 100 that don't know me, that are offering up some sort of service.
Right.
And I just block. I caught up. I just block them because it's so lazy. So some of you are doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. You're just shooting a message, you know, would you buy my product? You know, I have this incredible opportunity. I'm looking for 3 people. You know, you haven't even looked at their profile, nothing. So if you're getting ghosted, it's probably on you. Probably on you. So plan to review, like I say, it doesn't matter. Plan to review is a magic trick, because you can be the worst at anything and you start plan to review, get a little bit better every day. You'll find it within 30 days. You'll find a perfect rhythm to be able to do it. But quantity is your biggest challenge. You're not doing enough of what needs to be done in order to be able to have a real business. You can't do it talking to 7 people. You just can't.
Yeah. And I think it's really important too, for people that maybe struggle with this. And I think I heard you say this for the first time. I don't remember who it was, but I think it was you, almost creating a schedule. Like you have a part-time job where you're going to be intentionally sitting down and proactively reaching out to people. You could even create power hours with some sideline, upline, downline, whatever. Doing this together, creating conversation is the name of the game. And I think a lot of people, they do everything else but that. They want to avoid.
Here's the thing. What if you're not in conversation, what's going to build your business?
Right. I think they think videos. They're just going to put out content and the leads are just going to come in and
well, you can put out content, but if you don't use the content to start a conversation, this is all we do.
Right.
Is have conversations with people and then see if we can provide a solution, whether product or opportunity. And those that do, see if we can help them do the same thing that we're doing.
That's it.
That's it. That's the whole thing. So your posting is to create a conversation, not to get a sale.
Yeah.
Your live is to create a conversation, you know, and people are going to need to build some trust with you before they're ready to give you their credit card.
That's right.
They'll give it to Amazon. They trust Amazon. They don't trust you because they don't know yet.
Right.
You know, so you got to have conversation in order to be able to build trust, build belief, and then, you know, Susie asked, what's the best way to find new people to talk to? There's 8 billion of them. And you have this to be able to reach the entire world. All you got to do is go find people who have the same kind of beliefs and likes that you do and start a conversation. I see you like Apple products like I do. What's your favorite one? I don't, you know, look, I see you like, you know, reading books, you know, here's my favorite. Just start, say hello to somebody. You have unlimited reach. You don't have to knock on anybody's door. You know, everybody's available to be able to just have a conversation with. So just, sorry, I got this air conditioner that freaks out every once in a while. You hear that little chirpy thing?
I thought it was a dog. And
even when they turn it off, it still goes for a little while. So you're going to hear this annoying sound for a minute. Oh, it's speeding up.
I was positive that was a dog barking. So Eric, could you
Yeah.
talk about the recruiting 20 and 30 days?
Yeah.
Can we talk a little
Here's
bit
what I
about,
believe.
I think for some people, they're like, I can't even imagine what would that look like. And I know you're going to talk about this a lot more on March 9th, but I would love to get into that because I think it's something that everybody needs to do.
Yeah. Here's when I deconstructed. Hold on, the stupid thing.
That is amazing.
It's so weird. He's up on a ladder, like fiddling with it. Here's what I realized when I was in the field, when I deconstructed every time I've ever done well. I'm very rebellious against structured authority. Anything I'm supposed to do, I automatically don't want to do, whether it's the speed limit or what I'm supposed to eat or anything.
That's great.
I'm rebellious against it. And I watch some of these people. Have you ever worked with anybody or dealt with anybody that they're just walking and talking recruiting machines?
Yeah.
You go travel with them. They're recruiting.
It's
Uber
uncomfortable.
driver.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable.
They're recruiting the person at the airport. They're recruiting the person sitting next to them. They're recruiting the person who checks them in. The person who cleans their room. They're recruiting them. The waiter at the restaurant. They're recruiting them. It's like I don't understand these people at all. I just don't get it. So sorry for this chirping sound. It's so weird. So even a DMO, like I'm supposed to be recruiting every day. I've struggled with that. Because it wasn't my personality. I'm kind of introverted, so I have to psych myself up. So what I learned for me worked really, really well was to get it over with and to recruit as many people as I possibly could until those people wouldn't let me recruit anymore because they needed my help. So I tried to bring in as many people in a short period of time as possible. And the other thing emotionally that helped me is it's like I put on my recruiting clothes and I went and did the recruiting work. And I didn't have my support clothes on, and I didn't have my training clothes on, and I didn't have my getting people started clothes on, and I didn't have my promoting events clothes on. I just had recruiting clothes on. And I told everybody, all I'm doing is recruiting. I'm doing nothing else. When I did that, and I recruited a bunch of people in a very short period of time, I found out that one, I could, it usually was about 20 people in 30 days, a bunch of people in a short period of time. And then my group started to pull on me. If it went longer than 30 days, then, I had to help them get started. I had to help them with some three-way calls and presentations and those types of things. So I bring in 20 and 30 or a bunch in a short period of time. And what I realized is it was so efficient and so productive because if I brought in 20 people in 30 days, the success rate of those people was so much different than if I brought in those same 20 people in 30 weeks or those same 20 people in 30 months.
Yeah.
Same 20. But if I brought them in 30 days, they had lots of success and results. If I brought them in slow and steady, like one a month, some people like, I'm just going to recruit one or two every month. And that's what I'm going to do. And I'll build an empire. My observation is most of the time people starve to death. Because everybody feels like an orphan. Everybody feels like, like they're forgotten, like they're the new kid and they're out of the cool group. But if you bring in 20 and 30, they're all together and they're competing with each other and they're comparing notes with each other and they're having fun with each other. And the results are just different.
Yeah.
So I will ask you this question. I'll ask you, John, and I'll ask everybody that's watching. If you ever recruited a bunch of people in a short period of time, ever in your career, how many times have you done that? And then I want you to take what percentage of your success today can you devote to any of those times when you brought in a bunch in a short period of time? So I ask you, John, how many times have you brought in a bunch in a short period of time?
A lot.
Like how many? How many times?
Gosh, in 20
in your career? or with your company?
I mean, I know I brought in 38 people the very first month, and that
Okay.
was
Let me just ask that question. 38 people the very first month.
Mhm.
From those 38 people, what percentage of your income today can you track back to those 38?
a significant amount.
Like how much?
Uh,
Approximate
I mean,
percentage.
one of those people that I brought in out of that 38, still today, that team is my biggest team right now.
Okay. But of all the rest, are there any other significant people that you
Oh
can
yeah,
track
yeah.
back to?
My very first recruit, Ian Lenhart, him and his team are still here, still crushing. Yeah, I mean it's so yeah. There was a lot.
So
Back
give me a
then.
percentage. Give me a percentage number.
Oh gosh, I literally have no idea, no clue.
Over 50?
Let's just say over 50%. Let's say
And that was how long ago?
8 years ago.
8 years ago.
Yeah.
38 people.
But I do want to point this out. I did recruit 71 people last year. So
I understand.
but
Now,
not that many at once. That was the
I get
biggest
it.
in one shot.
I get it.
Yeah.
So if in the 71,
Mhm.
was there any portion during the year when it was a bunch in a short period of time? Or was it pretty steady?
Define a
5 or
bunch.
6 a month?
Define a bunch. What's a bunch?
20 or more in a month.
No, I don't think so. I don't think I
Okay.
did 20 in
So-
1 month,
so-
except for that first month. Yeah.
All right.
8
So
years. That's crazy.
how many in the last year?
71.
71. What percentage of your income today is from those 71?
Small percentage.
Tiny.
Yeah. Good point.
Tiny.
That's awesome.
So let me tell you another thing. If you would have brought in the same 71 in one 30-day period,
Hmm.
a significant portion of your income and new lines of success would have come out of those same exact people.
Wow.
When it's slow and steady, they all feel disconnected. They all feel like an outsider. They all feel, like they're trying to work into the cool group.
Mhm.
And it's so interesting to me. The same people in a short period of time, the success rate is wildly different. So everybody else, anybody that's watching this right now, put into the chat, if you recruited 20 or more in any 30-day period of time, what percentage of your success came from that group? Think of the first time you did it with the company you're with right now. What percentage? I'm curious. Has anybody done that that's watching? 80%, Tom says. Hey, Tom. Good to see you, man. 80%. Katie says she's done it twice, over 80% of her income, twice.
That's amazing.
Cindy says 10% from maybe the first time. Has she done it before or done it since then, Cindy? I'd be curious. Here's what I learned is like slow and steady, recruiting slow and steady. It's just not very effective. It just isn't. There's a different energy. 25 enrollments first month. Tom says 80% coming from his income. So look, and sometimes you brought in 20, but they were really just customers. I'm talking about people who like had an intention to build a business.
Right.
They didn't all do it. Here's what I learned. Melissa says 50% the first time. This last time was much better. What I learned, let me just break down the numbers for you. When you sign up 20 people in 30 days, okay? You think you have 20 new lines of sponsorship and you don't. 8 of them immediately go into the witness protection program. They're just gone. We don't know what happened to them, where they went, but 12 are building, 8 are gone. You think you got 12, you don't have 12.
Right.
After 90 days, another 4 of those will disappear and you've got about 8, and it looks like you got 8 solid lines that are going to grow and build for the future, right? You don't have 8 solid lines going to grow and build for the future. After 12 months, you're going to have 4 lines out of those 20. Okay. And one of the 4 is going to be doing more than 50% of the volume, and the other 3 will be doing the other 50%, approximately. And you think you've got 4 forever lines. You don't. 5 years later, you've got 2 of them. And they're significant, super strong. Okay. So one's going to be bigger than the other, maybe 70-30, 60-40, something like that. But those are the numbers. And if you've ever brought in 20 and 30, tell me if those numbers hold true. Generally, if they hold true. You brought in 27. How many of those 27, those 27 that you brought in that month, John, are still active today?
You mean that first month?
Yeah.
That was 38 people.
38, sorry.
Not many. Very small, maybe 4.
Well, how many? 4. 4 out of 38 is amazing.
Maybe 4.
4 out of 38 is unbelievable.
Right. Now, I will say a couple of those lines are still the biggest lines, but the initial person is not still here. So
it's not about that initial person.
Oh, of course.
It's about what they led you to.
Exactly. 100%. Yep.
Okay. So here's my point. And I'll be a little bit over. Jennifer said 80 in 1 month, and 2 or 3 are still active. Rest are hanging out on go. So Jennifer, of your 80 in that 1 month, what percentage of your success today comes from that 80? I'd be curious. Percentage of your income. So I'll be extreme on this. And I'll say signing up one person a month might be the meanest thing you can do. Because their chances of long-term success are so dramatically reduced if they're not brought in with a class of others, like one at a time, is just not giving them the best possible chance for success. It's just not. But if you bring those same exact people, and this will be controversial, I would rather you just have somebody hold on a minute until you're ready to bring in a bunch of people and then bring them in with that bunch than bring them in and have them be an orphan. Weird, huh? I'm just telling you, if you study success, Jennifer, you had your 3% maybe coming out of that. I'd be interested in the rest of the story. And as far as what you did since then, be really interesting. 14, your first month, starting your first 3 months, all for 14 doing very little or nothing. And again, Melanie, here's what I'm going to tell you. You're going to have to, I'm not saying, sometimes you can bring in a bunch and nothing happens. That's, you have to have a bigger birth rate than you do a death rate. You might have to do 2 or 3 or 4 20 and 30s to be able to find what you need to find, to be able to have enough raw materials to be able to go. Because if you're starting from a very low level of influence, if you're starting with a very low level of skill, but low level of knowledge, and these people come in and there was nothing to catch them, there's no getting started process, there's no systems, there's no anything. If that happens, then, you know, their chances of success are going to go way, way down as far as how quickly they're going to get started and quickly going to get moving, right? So you want to have a basis of it, but nothing is going to overcome volume, quantity, and mixing quantity in a short-term burst of time. You know what I'm saying? So day 50 sponsored 48. Emma, are you brand new? You're 50 days in and you sponsored 48? The other thing I would ask you is be honest. Was your sponsoring really just sponsoring somebody who is a kind of a VIP customer? Or did they have the intention of building a business with you? There's a huge difference there. Oh, I signed him up. They're a distributor, but they really only want to get the product at a discount. Obviously, that's not going to be as good a raw materials as if you bring in a bunch of distributors in a short period of time. So, you know, I've coached, tens of thousands of people how to recruit 20 people in 30 days. You know, there's a formula to be able to do it. You don't have to have skill. You don't have to have knowledge. You don't even have to have confidence. You just have to have quantity. You know, so we're going to be talking about that next month in March, but quantity is the thing. It's the name of the game. Most people suffer from a lack of quantity.
we give them a couple details also about the
Mhm.
recruiting 20 and 30 days. Because for those of you that want to recruit 20 and 30 days, just drop recruit 20 in the comments. Recruit 20 because it's starting March 9th. Could you talk a little bit about that, Eric?
I'm just doing a 3-hour like masterclass on how to recruit 20 people in 30 days, specifically. What I've done to teach everybody how to do that. 20 and 30. There's a link that they have for you. It's 3 hours. It's not a big long thing. I'm not going to hold your hand and walk you through it all, but I'm going to teach you very specifically how to get it done in the month of March or whenever you want to start. I'll give you the roadmap to be able to do it. Okay. And I think we're charging $9.95 or something like that for that 3-hour training. Think about what 20 recruits could mean for you in your business if you had a roadmap to do it. And let me tell you why. I'll take you inside why I'm charging $10 instead of making it free. I would make it free if you'd show up. But I learned that if you don't have a little bit of skin in the game, you're not going to show up. So I am not interested in having some free thing that you don't show up for and don't value. You know, the $10 is not going to change my life one bit. You know, it can change yours though. So $10. In order to be able to access it, I want everybody to be able to do it, but I want them to be a little bit annoyed if they don't take advantage of it, that they lost $10. You know, so Marina and I are going to give the money to charity anyway, but so yeah, that's the whole deal. So that's the link that they threw out there. I hope you join us. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. I see a lot of you asking for the Recruit 20. And just so you know, it's also right there on the screen, mylifestyleacademy.com/recruit 20. And then we'll also try to get back to those of you that are commenting. But I would highly recommend you promote this to your teammates. And Charlie's asking Australian time. Here's the thing, Charlie. For an extra $10, you can also get the replay. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe
it's 11 a.m. It's 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific time. So Australia, you're going to be around 11 a.m. is going to be what? 5 a.m., 6 a.m., something like that on a Saturday. Oh, it's going to be Sunday morning.
Yeah, wake up a little.
It's going to be Sunday morning for you in Australia, New Zealand. But there is you can purchase the replay as well. I'd love for you to be there live. You can purchase the replay for I think another $10 to be able to have access to it for life. But this is my number one best-selling training course I've ever done. And, we charge for it $300. So you want to go buy the course by itself, you can pay $300, or you can log in for $10 and be able to get it all.
Yeah. And be on live. I mean, that is the number one. Get your team on so you guys can watch it together. I love it. I mean, I'm just thinking my team recruited, I think 450 people last month. If I could just get half of them to do this and then half of those people recruit 20 in 30 days, that would be glorious.
Yeah, you can. I mean, most of the time, quantity is a problem for most people. They just don't have enough quantity.
Yeah.
2, they don't have enough velocity to be able to get it going. It's just like, they move heaven and earth. They get one person and they stop.
Yeah.
And then they just work with that one person.
Right.
And then when that one person either succeeds or fails, then they start up again and go get that one person. I just hated that starting process so much that I just would rather bring in a bunch of people in a short period of time and just deal with the fear and pain and just put my blinders on and just put my head down until I brought them all in. And then I could work with that whole class as far as see who wants to build and then do it again. But
feed off of each other.
Emotionally, I had to psych up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So quantity, velocity, doing it in a short period of time. And the other mistake people make is they go too fast. They're too impersonal and too fast. They're too spammy. They're too, hey, I have this thing. I want you to join it. Just like these people on my Insta.
Yeah.
It's like, come on. You didn't take 5 seconds. The funniest ones are the ones that are like, would you like to recruit more people into your business? Like, really? Haven't you taken 5 seconds to take a look at my profile to see what the heck I'm doing?
Right.
What the heck are you talking about? You're so dumb. but I mean, in that, it's easy because they show how dumb they are so fast. So if you're one of those people that is bum rushing your distributors, pushing them into some process that they're not particularly ready for, or just being boorish, you know, if you took 5 seconds and looked at their social, you would see that they've got a kid that's sick right now, or whatever, to be able to talk about. You can still say hi and I hope your kid's okay, and just start the conversation there.
Yeah.
You know, you don't need to close everybody every second. You know, what the successful network marketers do is they collect friends.
Yep.
And they strengthen those relationships. And if you're a friend with somebody, that friend is going to find out what it is that you do. And there'll be a moment when you can educate them on your product or your opportunity, and keep the conversation going after that. And even if they said no the first time, don't be one of those people that's a transactional person that says, you know, I'm only going to be having conversation with you if you're a prospect. If you're not a prospect, you're no longer interesting to me. Because as soon as you do that, people go, oh, that was gross.
Right.
You only wanted to talk to me when I was a prospect. And as soon as I wasn't a prospect, I'm dead to you. Get lost. I don't want to have anything to do with you.
We call that commission breath.
Yeah, it's so gross. Hate it.
But it is unfortunately very common. It's why a lot of people don't like network marketing. They don't like MLM because they think that's what it is. So don't be that guy. I love it, Eric. Well, I appreciate that guy. Available.
Yeah.
Can I ask you one more question?
Yeah, of course.
What are your thoughts on recruiting up?
I think so long as you start conversations, keep the conversations going, and whenever there's a pivot moment, you use third-party tools or resources, invite them to check out a video, check out a Zoom, talk to somebody else, to an event, whatever, then you can recruit up no problem. So long as you build trust, it's not hard. Right. If you use first party, if it's all about you, it's virtually impossible to recruit up. Yep. You need a bigger hammer than you, especially if you're brand new.
Right.
Introduce them to a video, introduce them to a website, introduce them to a social media page or your upline person, introduce them to a three-way phone call or three-way chat to be able to, so those people can get the questions answered. If you try and go first party, you can't, by definition, you can't go first, recruit up.
Because I found that's when my business really blew up.
Yeah.
It took me 7 years to figure this out. But in 2008, I started intentionally recruiting up business-minded people with an entrepreneur. I just looked at everybody the same. I just felt like whether I'm talking to a 19-year-old or a 39-year-old that's successful in business, to me, it was like everybody was the same. But when people who are more successful than you, they need different credibility than you,
right? In order to be able to even see it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, I'm in conversations with people right now that are billionaire monsters, absolute, you know, celebrity billionaire monsters. They're my friends and I'm in conversation. Now, I haven't been able to turn it into business yet. A little bit of business, not a lot of business, but I'm in charge of that conversation.
Yeah.
I'm in charge of that conversation.
Right.
And there's zero doubt, because through plan to review, I will crack the code. We'll find a way to do business together. And even if we don't, I have a fun friend relationship.
Right.
You know, if I was spamming these billionaires, you know, they're going to block me so fast. But, you know, I was chatting with one last night. This guy started a business 13 months ago for $10 million, just got valued at 900 million.
Wow.
Beast. This guy's a beast. Freaking, and you'd all know his name. It's a celebrity beast. He's awesome. He's an amazing guy. You know, so what did I do last night? I just complimented him.
Yeah.
Hey, congratulations. I heard about the valuation. What a beast. And please let me know next time you have one of these ideas, because let me put a few dollars in instead of just like, having some other person invest in something. I'd like to be part of that conversation. We laughed and talked about stuff. So anyway, we're on a similar fitness journey and doing different. So I'm talking about that. I'm talking about this. I'm tagging them to other people, and I'm compliments and funny and goofing around, and it's for me, that part of being in the game and bringing value. It's not about creating a mousetrap. It's about creating relationship and finding value with some of the other people. Just understand this. Here's a mistake. A lot of people think that other people are a tool for them to be able to achieve their goals. And instead of that, you have the opportunity to bring a gift to people through your products that will improve their lives. And you have a gift to people to help others with a financial opportunity, and not just themselves, but help other people as well. You have the gift to be able, you have the gift. They don't understand it yet. Your job is to educate them so they do understand it. But once you understand this, that it's a gift that you're offering, but the person's blind to that gift right now, and you have to help the blind person see. And the way you do that is through conversation. And the way you do that is keeping the conversation going and building trust. And the way you do that is educating the person about what it is that you have in a non-spammy bullshit way. Just being a nice person and having fun and allowing a person's imagination to be triggered and like, maybe this could be something that could be huge for me. Who knows?
That's right.
So
it's a challenge. It's a challenge.
Don't make it such a big deal. Don't make it such a big, like, I got to get this person. What do you mean get this person? You got to help. You're going to serve, you're going to help. And by helping them, if there's a value for them, then fantastic. Connect them with that value. And if it's not a fit, just stay in relationship anyway.
Yep.
It's a magic part of what we do. We have an excuse to be able to connect and interact with very interesting people.
Right.
We just got to decide to do it in a professional way where, we're not exposed as an opportunist or a hunter.
That's right.
So, yeah.
I love it, Eric. I appreciate you always.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
I know everybody's really
my pleasure. You're one of the stars of our profession, my friend. So keep doing good work. Your wife is a bigger star, but you're definitely a star. Continue to do good work. Continue to help people. There are ups and there are downs and there are sideways in our business, but there's a huge difference between earners and leaders in network marketing. And both of them look like they're the same thing until they have to deal with adversity.
That's right.
And then the earners panic, freak out, go crazy. The leaders, that's when you got a leader. So, yeah,
love that.
You guys are definitely leaders.
Appreciate it. Y'all get registered for the Recruit 20 and 30 Days Masterclass, March 9th, 2 p.m. Eastern. If you didn't see the link already, drop Recruit 20 in the comments. Spread the word. Share this with your team. And for those of you that are wondering, yes, it's for anyone in any network marketing company. As always, when Eric does these masterclasses, it's for anyone in any company. So, Eric, thanks again. I appreciate you. Y'all, let's go. I'm fired up. I'm going to Recruit 20.
See you, everybody. Ciao.
Bye.